So, Activision Blizzard has officially laid off a slew of people. Now, layoffs usually happen when a company is in disarray, when a company is starting to fall apart normally. Usually the company is lacking money, they need to retain as much as possible, and usually layoffs end up being one of the options some of these companies take to save money. Now, obviously, there are other companies that take different routes. For instance, Nintendo, who actually took pay cuts instead and fought to keep their developers and even non-essential staff on in their fucking company. They fought to keep them there. Iwata took pay cuts to make sure the company survived, okay? Executives within Nintendo did that, all right? Listen, Activision. However, with Activision, that doesn't seem to be the case. You see, apparently they weren't failing. Apparently Activision were perfectly fine, because before they laid everyone off, Activision went ahead and said that they had the best year in 2018. A good 2018. They had a good year. They made a lot of money. And then shortly after, they go ahead and lay off around 800 people. Now, the reason why I say around 800 is because some websites say 700, some websites say 800, some say 770. So I'm going to say around 800 because I honestly don't know who's telling the truth right now. However, around 800 people. And yet they say that they made a lot of money in 2018. You see where that kind of doesn't make sense? You made a lot of money, right? You had a good 2018. You didn't say that you had a bad one. You said you had a good one, and yet you lay people off? How does this make sense, Activision? How does that make any fucking sense? There's only one thing I can think. They probably lied to their investors because they probably did have problems within the company. They probably were financially hurting. And what they thought they could do was get rid of all these staff members. And by doing that, they would retain more money so they can go ahead and say, yeah, no, we actually did have a good 2018 by firing a bunch of people. Yeah, that's a really smart idea, you fucking fuckwits. Now, of course, I'm going to go ahead and, go back to Nintendo here, because if Activision really was financially hurting, which they most likely were, because they literally fired around 800 people, why couldn't they have done what Nintendo did? Why couldn't they, Bobby and the rest of his fucking executive fuckwits, take a pay cut to keep the company afloat? Why couldn't they do that? Why couldn't they have taken a pay cut? Why? Why couldn't they have done that? Please, someone tell me why the fuck that could not have happened. You see, before around 800 people were laid off, there were several happenings within Activision and Blizzard that involved, multiple CFOs leaving, CFOs coming in, being given $15 million, which should have just went towards, making other games and, I don't know, paying your goddamn employees. They cut, I believe, Hearthstone's or Heroes of the Storm. I don't know which one, but they cut a game's esports division and essentially diverted that game's developers to other projects. You see, Activision Blizzard, a lot of people are telling you and giving you the answer to your problem. And that is, make games. Make fucking games. People are giving EA the same fucking treatment right now Activision. Make some fucking games. Stop chasing trends. If you want to throw a battle royale in your next Call of Duty, fine. Go ahead. I am not going to stop you. But please, for the love of God, evolve your fucking games. Make them better. Stop just throwing in incremental changes and calling that innovation. That is not innovation. Throw in some genuine changes. Make the games fun. This Call of Duty, please put in a single player campaign that's actually worth a damn. The reason why people never played your single player campaigns, Activision, is because they were shit. They were shallow. Every single Call of Duty had a shallow campaign, and that is why people stopped playing them. If you make a good single player component to your game, people will play it. People will actually replay it. There are games out there people replay. I have replayed Doom 1,000 times. It's a single player game. Yeah, it has a multiplayer game mode, but I kind of just forgot it ever existed. But I have played that game 1,000 times, and I enjoy the shit out of it. Okay, if you can make a good single player mode campaign in your next Call of Duty, that'd be great. Hell, better yet, Activision, why don't you just work on creating more IPs? Get your developers, have them brainstorm, make a new IP, take a break from Call of Duty. Go do something else. Take a dump once in a while. Why don't you go take a bathroom break instead of fucking having everyone constipated and running on speed to make your next Call of Duty? Why don't you let these people be creative for once, Activision? Why don't you let them do that? Why can't you allow these people to be creative? Why must you always have another Call of Duty year after year? Okay, obviously, Activision, things ain't going well for you. Overwatch, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, I even think World of Warcraft are failing miserably. They're failing. Not just because of other competition, but because you're just being stale. You're not good. The goods that you're making, the fucking products are getting stale. They're getting old. You need to get out of your comfort zone, Activision, and make something new. Make something amazing. Create a new IP. Imagine if this year at E3, or hell, even future E3s, and that's only assuming E3 is even relevant after this year. Imagine if you see a brand new IP from Activision, from Sledgehammer, from Treyarch, from Infinity Ward. Imagine that. Imagine a new game, and it's like the best thing anyone's ever played. Imagine that. I don't. It's kind of hard to see considering it's Activision and they only make Call of Duty. But imagine that. Activision, if you innovate, actually innovate, and not just make those tiny little changes like, oh yeah, no, let's just throw a battle royale in there and cut out the single player campaign because we think that's what everybody wants. Oh, well, that's actually not, because apparently Black Ops 4 still didn't hit sales projections. And not only that, Activision is still kind of failing right now. Other games like Apex Legends and Fortnite are still on top. Blackout barely even got there. Okay, it was probably popular for a while, and then people just kind of went back to Fortnite. And then after that, Apex Legends, which is probably putting Call of Duty Black Ops 4 even further in the hole, because Apex Legends is better. Okay, it actually has good netcode. It's actually fun to play, though I won't play it. But from what I've heard from other people, it's actually fun. It's actually good, and actually has managed to dethrone Fortnite. It's just, you gotta change Activision. You can't just rest on your laurels. You can't just sit here and expect the same thing to work. Stop coming back with the same idea. Stop coming back with the same idea with small differences in hopes that it will eventually stick, because it's not working. You need to try something different, Activision. I hope you can do it. I don't know if you can. I'm not saying it's going to happen right away, but if Activision keeps going down this path, they could actually cease to exist. Blizzard could cease to exist as well. Bungie left at the right time. Yeah.